for businesses around the area. She's been young entrepreneur, what year was that? In 2013? 13? Yeah, in 13. So she has a lot to do with running a small business. So today she's going to come and just have a talk to you and then talk a little bit about her business, and then hopefully that you'll have maybe some questions that are relevant to you. I think some of you are doing market research at the moment. And of course my group, who of course is focusing on leadership and management in all different areas, okay? So hopefully that you'll get some nice information. So I'd like to all to give you an Envirotech clap for Monique.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, and everyone. I hope you're feeling pumped up. Are you ready for a good session today? Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me here at your college. I love education and I love international students. Carol and I go way back when I first started in the education industry as a teacher and then evolved. So thank you for this opportunity to come to speak to your students. So you're all doing a diploma of leadership and management and a certificate 4 in business. Yeah. So basically what I'd like to do today is talk about my experiences as an entrepreneur and sort of intertwine some of the concepts that you may have learned in your course, okay? And share with you basically some real life experiences that I've had in terms of leading a team, because to be a good leader, it takes a lot of practice, right? A lot of experience, but also the ability to really love what you do. So to give you a bit about my background, so I started in business way back, in 2008. So when I had just come out of university and I was fresh, 21 years old, started a company. Has anyone thought about doing that at this age? No? Or got the guts to do it? It's pretty scary to do it when you're so young, especially when your parents are not quite sure about your decision. You're expected to maybe become a lawyer or a doctor, follow the traditional path. But for me, I'm a rule breaker, and I've always been. And I guess some of you, put your hand up if you think you are a rule breaker, deep in your heart. Or you've got a fire inside of you to start a business. Is it somewhere in there, yeah? Well, that's what happened to me, and I knew it. I knew it from a really young age that this is what was going to happen. So I went to university, did my degree, did my teaching qualification as well. But I realised that for me, the traditional model of going into a full-time job was not ideal. For my kind of personality, and some of you might identify yourselves as that kind of a bit free-spirited. Who's the free-spirit in here? Yeah? You like to do things your own way. You like to create. Yeah? You like to make changes happen, and you like to influence. So that's kind of the traits that I identified really young. And that's why I decided at 21 to go down that path and go into business. So basically I tested the waters, worked full-time, hated it, realised entrepreneurship's for me. So I started a tuition company initially, just myself on my own, leading myself. Because as a leader, you have to be able to lead yourself before you can lead other people, okay? So you have to be able to make decisions, be able to set a pathway for yourself, and realise that you're always going to evolve as a leader. So that's what happened. 2 years later, I decided to rebrand, and I started the company Exceptional Tuition and Resumes. So maybe you will see our marketing on Facebook quite often in the future. It's an employment agency. So that company's been around since 2010 until now, 2020. So what we do is we write resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, and selection criteria. So say if you're applying for a graduate program, or you're applying for a job as a nurse or a teacher, or even a construction worker, our team writes those documents. So that company initially was started as a brick and mortar business, so just like a setup like this. But then a few years later, I made the decision to turn it all online, because obviously as education changes, online courses become part of the process, and you have to evolve with your company and with the industry. So that was one major decision I had to make as an entrepreneur, is to transfer from brick and mortar physical business to an online business. During that journey, I started a real estate agency because I realised I loved property. So as a leader, you start to realise that there's two parts of you. There's your professional side and then there's your personal side. So for me, I realised my other passion was property. So I started a real estate agency, which was Exceptional Real Estate. Then I realised maybe property is quite tough. Maybe it's not what I want to do long term. So I started a training company, which was Exceptional Training. So I still stayed in the education part. And that company was developing courses and resources for colleges. So some of the courses, for example, you do in a business diploma or a certificate, our team developed those courses. So again, I kept with the interest in writing, like a resume writing company, but we did training writing. And then at the end of 2018, I started Exceptional Study Australia, which is an education agency here in Surfers Paradise. So our market mainly is like international students from Southeast Asia coming in to enroll in like English courses, diplomas, short-term student accommodation, and also employment. So I've basically, as an entrepreneur, I've stayed in my industry. So I stayed in education, stayed in employment, and stayed in the real estate sector. But as an entrepreneur, I had to think to myself, can I build a set of companies that I love? Because that's the most important thing if you're going to be a successful leader, is you must love what you do every day. So at the moment, do you guys love being on the Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Right, so you've got one part, so your location. Do you love what you're learning in the Gold Coast? Yes? Yes? Awesome, okay. Now, do you know what you are good at as an individual? Sort of, yeah. Yep. It takes a little bit of testing the waters to see, what you're good at, what you're bad at. But as a leader, you have to be able to determine what skills are your strengths and what is your weaknesses. And then from there, you have to basically work out a plan of how are you going to fill those weaknesses with somebody else. And that's where, as a leader, you have to be able to recruit people who can fill those weaknesses. So for me, I know I'm really, really weak technically. Okay, I'm no good at computers, to be honest with you. I'm no good at maths. Like, I suck at maths. But I love people. I love people. I love my staff. I love my clients. I love my students. I love my family. These sort of things. So that's what I do in business. Is I stick to what I'm good at, what I'm interested in, yeah, and also creating a lifestyle for those who work with me. Because I think as a leader, it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether it's an education agency or an employment agency or property, you've got to be able to bring together people who have that same passion for your industry, okay? Because you all got to work together as a team, okay? So who again is thinking about having their own business? So yeah. What is the driver of having your own business? What makes you want to have your own business? Flexibility? Lifestyle? Time? There's one thing you can't get back, and I've realised this, is time. So for example, this morning, before coming to class, I sat outside the beachfront with my laptop, and I thought, this is awesome. This is the lifestyle. This is why we come to the Gold Coast, to study, right? Because you can work in front of the beach. Is that probably one of the key reasons why you came here? Yeah. So in a business, when you're making that decision to lead a business, you've got to make that decision of, where do you want to have your company? What is the lifestyle? What is the work arrangement that you want for yourself as not only a leader, but also for your team? So to give you an example, one of the reasons why I changed Exceptional Tuition and Resumes to be an online business is because instead of having my staff always coming to the same place every afternoon and being locked down, I wanted them to have flexibility. Because we used to hire a lot of mothers with kids, right? And I understood as a leader that mothers with kids are awesome people to have in your team. They are really awesome. Why do you think that? What do mothers bring to the table, do you think? Commitment, responsibility. They want to be there. So for me, I thought as a woman and as a potential mother, if I can attract a team that have flexibility, that can get the job done, but still work from home, that's awesome, right? Have any of you guys thought about working from home in the future? Yeah, it is the best lifestyle, honestly, because you can do what you want to do. You can raise a family, you can play with your dog, you can go shopping when you want, but as long as you achieve your end goal, that's most important. So for me as a leader, I said to my team when I was making that decision to transfer from being a brick and mortar business to an online company, I said to them, right, can you deliver work to me for our clients on time, on schedule, and at a high quality, but still be working from home? And if they say yes, then I'll give them a chance, you know? Because it's a huge thing to change people's routines when they're in your business, like from going to one place at the same time to suddenly trusting them, right? Trusting them that they can do the job as expected. So what we did is, in the online sense, we did two things. We kept our initial team who were working in the business, but we also looked at offshore as well. So we looked at, can we attract people who are international to work in the business, to do the same quality work at a little bit lower cost to the business, because cost is something you have to consider sometimes. And we did it at a small level to test it, but also we looked at employing our local staff as well. So it was finding that balance. So, because I believe that it's good to have a mix of staff who are both international and also Australian as well. So that was one major decision I had to make as a business. Is running an online business for you? Has anyone thought about running an online business? Yeah? Do you realise the flexibility it brings to your life? Yeah? How much lower cost it is for you, because you don't have cost of like rent, for example, for that business. No electricity, no water, all the utilities are very, very low. So it's definitely a good entry point if you're thinking about starting a business. For the other side of things, for my education agency, we have an office. The reason we have an office is because, like all of you, you probably do your agents, you sometimes need that face-to-face contact. Don't be right? Yep. So sometimes we have the opportunity that if clients want to come in, they can see us, but otherwise, again, we can have our staff work off-site from home again. So how do you, as a business, attract good people to come in your business? Well, I think it comes down to the key word of networking. So do you guys do networking very much? Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I think it's the most valuable way to be an effective leader, but also to recruit quality people. So, for example, in my company, the Exceptional Study Australia, we always have international students with us on our team. So we always look at doing internships. So has anyone done an internship before? Yeah? Yep. Did you enjoy the experience? Yeah? You learned a bit beyond the classroom? Yeah? It's great. So that's what we do. So we first advertise for internships. We put the word out to universities, to colleges, to the general international education industry, and see who's interested. And then we do obviously resume screening, interviewing, the typical process like a normal job. Yeah. And then we recruit from there. Another way that we use networking is once we find good quality interns, we ask our interns, do you know someone who is awesome to work in our business? Because, would you guys agree, awesome people have awesome friends? Exactly. You guys, it's like the same thing. Birds of a feather flock together. You heard me saying? Birds of a feather flock together. So people who are similar will stay together. So that's one of our kind of, not tricks, but one of our strategies to attract good people, is we look at who is the quality first candidate and then who is in their network, and we ask. And it's a very informal process for recruitment, but it comes down to, again, trust, as I was saying to you. So as a leader, you have to be able to trust your staff, trust your interns, trust your contractors, anybody who comes on board, to make decisions, to work together as a team. So I found that really, really effective. So at the moment, because our agency, in terms of the education side of things, focuses on the Asian market, pretty much our team is all Asian, which is fine. So we have like China, Japan, Taiwan, Filipino, we had Thai recently, yeah, and Japanese. So we had all the Southeast Asian demographic. Why do we recruit on that? It's because we want our clients to be able to match the demographic. So that's again another networking strategy, because some of you probably are from Latin America, I imagine, in the class. So probably your agents are going to be from Latin American culture, if I'm right. Yep. Whereas the Asian cultures may have Asian agents, maybe. And it's purely for cultural fit, you know. Because do you guys also know when we say cultural fit, what we're talking about? Yeah. It's like there's two ways to interpret it. There's either from an organisational perspective of how people match, you know, the values, the way that we expect work to be done, but also cultural fit is from a people perspective of what's your background. Do you speak the same language? Do you understand the customs? Do you know the heart of your clients, and do you know the heart of your staff as well? So it's very, very important to attract people and recruit people with that kind of investment, okay? To understand, because I think, you know, do you know the concept of like emotional intelligence? Yeah. So
Better.
yeah, did you study it?
Otherwise, they're all failing this.
Awesome. So you guys need to make this one of your key skills, is to develop your emotional intelligence, okay? Because in business, if you decide to go down that path, or if you decide to go into a managerial position, you have to be able to understand yourself, but also understand other people, you know, and be able to connect to them. And with that ability to have emotional intelligence, that's where you can really build the relationships. So who do I admire? And that is Oprah. You know Oprah Winfrey? I think she's a mastermind in this area, because she came from very simple roots, yeah, but she also has become a force to be reckoned with, you know. Who do you girls and guys admire with this sort of strength to network and have emotional intelligence? Gary Vee, yeah. He's pretty like straight down the earth, isn't he? Yeah. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. Yeah. Anybody else? What do the girls think? Well, who's a woman that you respect that stands out? Anybody, or anyone famous at all? No? Okay. Well, that's one of your homeworks, to think of somebody that you admire. And look at the impact of what is their level of emotional intelligence. Because if you're going to network, as I was saying to you from a recruitment perspective, it's really, really important to be able to have the ability to spot traits in people, you know, to be able to spot potential, you know, spot talent. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, one of my interns right now is actually in one of my classes, right? And I spotted her potential straight away. So I said to her, do you want to do an internship? Just like that. And it was amazing. And to see, she only been with me a few weeks, but she has shown so much skill that wasn't even taught in the class. It was just the ability to spot the personality, spot the passion, spot the enthusiasm, and anything can be trained. So there's a saying that I really, really believe in business, and it's hire character, train skill. Think about it. Hire character, train skill. Because when you network, if you can find people in business, whether it's your client, whether it's an industry stakeholder, whether it's a friend, whether it's an intern, if you can spot the same character in somebody else, you can train them in anything. Do you know what I mean? You can train them, you can mentor them, you can work together, you can support each other, you can trust them. Again, trust. It's really, really, really important. So yes, I was really lucky to spot this one student, and it's been a wonderful experience. So for you guys, when you go into your careers, being able to spot potential team members that you recruit as a leader who are similar to you is really important, okay? Because it makes it much easier, doesn't it, to work with people who get on with you, who aren't fighting you, who are actually going to cooperate. So it's really, really important. What else from a networking perspective? Do you guys go to networking events? Sometimes? Yeah? Do you get scared of networking events at all? No? Like, if you're looking for like free networking events, go on this Eventbrite website. Do you know this one? type in Gold Coast, type in business events, and see what's out there, and get yourselves out into the industry, because you just never know who you're going to meet at a social event, you know. And I think it's easier for you to do business with people when you're actually out and about in person, you know. The reason I say this is because often if you decide to send an email out to someone, most likely what's going to happen? In the spam box, ignored, in the bin. That's very common practice, right? Especially if you're in business. You could pick up the phone and you could ring up and say, hey, did you receive my email? I'm from this company, blah, blah, blah. But what could happen? Phone goes down. They just hang up on you. So as a leader, you've got to be realistic about how do you network in business, you know? How do you get people's attention, you know? As Carolyn, you know, like being a shameless promoter is part of it, right? Yeah. Shameless promoting. Have any of you guys shameless promoters? Yeah, no? Okay, you've got to get used to this, because if you're going to be a leader, you decide to go into your own business, into the world of entrepreneurship, you have to be the face of your business, you know? You must be able to push your business in a nice, non-evasive manner, but in a way that people remember you, you know? That they always remember your brand, or at least the first word of your company, and associate it with one product. So often, like, for example, people, if they run into me and they see me in red, they're like, oh, you're the resume girl. Right? Because, I'll tell you why this happens. I love social media, right? I love it so much. So you might see, from a shameless promotion perspective, I might use just my face and the business name in a picture that's me dressed as a nurse, or me dressed as a construction worker, right? I'm not a nurse, let me be honest with you, I'm not a nurse. There's more Filipino nurses in the Gold Coast than there is me. But it's been memorable. People remember you for that reason of the word resume, exceptional nursing, or resume, exceptional trades, construction, things like that. So being able to network online and to really like embody your business is so important, you know? Because remember, as a leader, you are going to be the face in everything. Face via email, you might be in your signature if you send it later. You could be the face in a media somewhere, like in a newspaper, on the TV, on Facebook, things like that. So being able to network and be confident in doing that, do you know? And from confidence comes from the word trust again, that you trust your team, that they'll deliver the product to your staff, you know? Because from a sales and marketing perspective, that's my job in the company, is I go out there, I do the marketing, I do the market research, I make the sales, but I always make sure that my team is trustworthy, that they give the resumes at high quality to our clients, okay? So being able to network. How you talk about your business as well is really, really important. So for example, having that passion and that backing for your business, you know? That's what I was saying to you, you must love your business, right? You must love your product and your service. It could be a simple product and service. You know, I was saying to you, we only have four writing documents: resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and selection criteria. So it's an electronic writing company as such, right? It could be a product that's boring. Like, do you guys think it's pretty boring, the resumes as a document? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty dry, right? But for me, I've turned the company into something that's fun, you know? If you ever go on our Facebook page and you look at all our photos from the past, the people who have worked with us love the product, you know? That it's not dry. Like, you know, you think of accounting, lawyers, these are all dry kind of businesses, right? Oh, I was going to become a lawyer originally. That was my initial plan in life. But then I realised, no, I don't want to do that. But I decided to do something that I could turn from a dry product to something exciting. So having that consistency in your message, you know, when you network in person, when you go out, when you talk about your product, when you talk about your staff, when you talk about the business as a whole, being confident is really, really, really important. The other business that I have, Exceptional Study Australia, the education agency, it's a newer business. It's a harder business to run. I'm sure some of you will appreciate the hard work that your agents do for you, in setting up your visas, your courses. What else do they do? Settling into Australia. They work hard. But it's a business that I love the reason I love it is because I love the international world, you know. I love it because as a leader, I get to work with people who are fresh, who affiliate with our clients. It's a business that you can run, again, from anywhere. You can travel. So do you guys all like traveling? Yeah, awesome. So that's what I was saying to you, like, in your future careers, if you decide to become a leader or an entrepreneur, finding a way to put travel into your schedule, into your work schedule, is awesome. Like, it's so cool, you know? And that's what online business can do for you. So being a leader, so networking, online, in person, on the phone, being confident on the phone as well. Just having a sort of script that you can say that's simple but straight to the point is effective. Networking also through secondary contacts as well. So for example, you might go to a business event, right? But your client may not be in the room. They may not be. But they might have a brother or a sister, or a family member, or a friend they can refer to. And that's gold if you can get the referral business, you know? Because if you can do it that way, it's cost effective as a networker. It also shows that you're not pressuring the person in the room to buy from you. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do when you network is just plant the seed. Plant the seed about your business. Plant the seed that you have this service, we can do this, we can help you. And then if you have that, as I was saying, emotional intelligence, and you can build the trust and relationship, one way or another, the light bulb will go off in somebody's head, and they'll say, oh yes, my wife is looking for a resume, or my husband's looking for a resume. So often, for example, when we deal with construction workers, right, we deal with a lot of tradesmen, you know, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, all these guys. Often they can't write a resume, right? They're no good. Why? Because they're good on the tools, right? They can build a house, but they can't write about themselves. So often their wives will be the one that contacts us, because their wives will be at the networking event. Their wives will say, oh, my husband is going to the mines, he's applying for a new project, can you help him write his resume? And that's where we get the secondary referral. Yeah. So as a business, it's pretty good if you can reward people as well for referring the client to you, you know, giving them a small gift to say thank you. Because I think having gratitude and thankfulness for a client is really, really important, you know. Have you guys ever thought about that before? Of being thankful in business? Yeah, absolutely. It goes a long way, even as a small gesture. So for example, like in our business, we have an ongoing promotion, like if you refer anybody to our business and they buy a resume, we'll give you a free $25 Coles Myer gift card. And you know, $25, right? You can use it on something in the shop. But it's something that didn't cost you much. It was just pretty much pass your friends to us, and that's it. So, and it's our way of saying thank you, because we like to show appreciation. What else? So market research is another area you're studying at the moment. So how do you feel about market research? Do you like it?
It's a good one. Some not so good.
Yeah, which part do you like of market research?
I like the logistics behind it. I like the whole data and the fact that you can combine information from different sources and actually draw a profile and figure out about your audience and things like that. Yeah. But I don't like that some of them are too invasive. Like ask a lot of questions, they can't allow you to skip. So when it's usually like that.
Exactly. It's like just straight to the point. You just want to get the simple answers. Yeah. Market research, you can do it in many, many different ways. So for me, like, I love asking questions, you know. I love to find out, you know, your thoughts. So for example, what I just did then was find out your opinion. Simple process. One of my hobbies that I love doing in my spare time is I go to focus groups. You know focus groups? Yeah? Have you studied this in your course yet? Yeah? I'll give you an example of some of the really fun focus groups I've done. So, you know Taco Bell, the Mexican restaurant? Yeah? So before, there was only one in the Gold Coast, in Robina. So I got invited to a focus group where they invited us to go to Taco Bell to have a meal there. And then they invited us to go to another restaurant in the fast food sector. And I got paid to do this. So I got paid to eat Mexican food, which is cool. And then I got paid to go to the second restaurant to do some market research. Then what they did is they invited us to two focus groups where they sat about 20 people in a room, in a sample of the population, and they asked us about our experiences of why would we go to Taco Bell over the other company? What did we like about this brand? What did we like about the service, the quality, the staff, the product, those sort of things? And they paid us to eat sandwiches as well, right? And it's not bad. It's not a bad hobby to do on the side, because for businesses it's really important to understand, what is your consumer thinking? Why would they go to Taco Bell and pay $10 for nachos as opposed to going to Subway and getting a 6-inch sub for $8.95, right? What is the decision in the mind of a consumer? What is it in the customer experience from a food perspective, from a staffing perspective that makes you want to go there? So guess how much roughly I got paid to do that simple Taco Bell experiment?
$200.
Yes, $200. That was very, very good.
I got it too, so I got focus groups.
Oh,
too,
awesome.
so
You know how it rolls.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yes, $200. To me, it was the easiest cash ever, but it was good from a business perspective. If you put yourself in the position of a business and think, what is the value in investing in market research? Because that little bit of investment you spend in getting a sample of your population together can drive your business to make better decisions, So that's awesome. You do it as a hobby as well. Yeah. And it's fun. These projects pop up all the time. If you just go on Google, you just type in focus groups, market research groups, Gold Coast or Brisbane. You can actually you can register yourself for these sort of companies, and then when projects come up, you can just submit your interest, and then they can take you out to these events. So those events are good. The other reason those events are good too is from a networking perspective as well. Because sometimes, depending on what the project is, you can be put in a room either with, might be students or it might be professionals. But if you sit there in the room as a business owner and you listen carefully to the answers people give, sometimes you can find someone who's very switched on. And then after the market research focus group, you can actually go and chat to them, and just find out whether there's an alliance. So I've been to many, many focus groups on the Gold Coast, to do with councils, developments, properties, things like that, all sorts of things. But I found it very valuable as a networking opportunity, because people who go to, I guess, the more serious market research focus groups are concerned about serious issues sometimes. So they do these events to find out things about what's happening in a location or what's happening in industry. So for you, again, it's another networking opportunity, to sit there and find out if there's someone you could maybe work with in the future, Because that's the other thing I'd like to talk to you about when it comes to being a leader, is it's important to see people in your industry as alliances rather than competitors, okay? So I'll give you an example of why I think this.